I think the idea came from a need, and seeing a gap within a market that was not necessarily being exploited when we first started the company. It was two guys coming together and trying to create something substantial out of their lives, and more so substantial within the business world. So we saw a gap within the market back in 2007 where we were like, let's start a company that would be almost a go-to agency, a very affordable go-to agency that people can go to when they need creative, when they need design or anything visual communicative. When we first initially started the company, I grew up within a very creative space with both my parents being visual artists, painters or curator, and having been in that space and growing up in that, it's always been second nature for us to be creative, me and my older sister, to either be creative or do creative things, as it were. And I think it's obviously, as second nature, become a passion for me to say, okay, well, this is what I do, this is what I like, this is what I know. I think with any business is cash flow, especially when you start the business out of pocket. I think right now there's so many opportunities for people to get funding, seek funding, get investors, angel investors, and so forth. And I think back then, out of pocket, it was really hard to sort of manage a business because of issues like cash flow, issues like non-paying clients or late paying clients, and so forth. And I think that becomes so much of a frustration when you first start your business, because you always put so much effort into your work. And I guess with any business, even if you're a plumber, you go out there and you want to do the work and obviously get paid, but then it becomes an issue when people don't pay. And when we first started the company, it was just the two of us. So the company's gone through different transitions, and I guess in business that's what happens. So it started with the two of us, with a partner of mine who was more of the strategy and the sales guy, and I was more the creative behind the business. And we sort of evolved from there, where he left the company and I was working by myself from home for a very long time. I think it was probably like 3 or 4 years, until we sort of got into different agreements with different companies, where we then moved into their space. So we were incubated for a while, then we left and we got our own space. So we've been in this particular building for the past year and a half. We were in the space next door, where we were in the basement, and we moved to the space because it's a lot bigger and we've got more freedom, and we were sharing a lot of what we had downstairs. So moving into the space gave us more freedom to sort of own our own environment and do what we want to do. Every project is memorable to some extent, whether it be internal or external, whether the client gives us a good testimonial or we enjoyed it ourselves. But I think that the most commonly known for us is always in the entertainment sort of field, where we worked with a lot of artists. I think namely Kuli Chana, when he was redoing his brand and his positioning and the launch of his second album. That was really big for us. Sometimes it boils down back to money, as petty as it might sound. I guess there's also like a standard of living. Like, you don't want to be working and not actually enjoy your work because people aren't paying you. So for a bit of the existence of the company, that was a very big part of how I felt. And I was like, well, why am I actually doing this if I'm not getting any joy or reward from a financial perspective, or even from a happiness perspective, which is something I've recently realized is to rethink, why did I start this? Why and which stage of the business is it? Any company that's designing in the USA or in Ukraine, we all use Adobe. It's just how creative we are with our output. This is my desk. And I do everything. So whether it be helping with the creative, whether it be doing admin work, whether it be playing the art director role, so I try to oversee everything, which is I guess what a business owner does, but you actually can't do everything, which I've realized that you can't actually do everything that needs to be done. Success is determined by who is either the person who they say is successful, and sometimes society determines how successful you are. I don't personally see myself as insanely successful, because for me, maybe success is determined by my happiness, you know what I mean? Or it's determined by how well I'm doing in the bank, you know? So I think there's been lots of things. There's been Forbes magazine, there's been Mail and Guardian, there's been a lot of radio and TV and so many interviews where people are in exposure and PR and people are like, well, because you're on all these platforms, you're successful. I don't necessarily think that's the case, you know. But I do take them into account, and I'm very cognizant of them to understand that people see you differently because they know all of those things, have seen all of those things, and that's what you'll be called. But for me, I don't think I'm insanely successful. And besides that, taking away from myself, I think it's more of a team thing. I think there has been a progression in terms of looking back at the financial records to say, where are we, how have we done, have we decreased overheads, have we increased profits and so forth. So the incline is slow. It's very slow, but I guess that's the nature of the beast, you know. Some years are better than others, some months are better than others, but as long as there's progress, as much as it is slow, it still is progress. There's different scenarios or highlights that we're all getting wrong, and I say all because I think I'm also in that space still. But the first one is research. You know, people come up with ideas and think that they'll sort of, it's Silicon Valley and we're off, you know. But research is a big thing, to understand what type of industry you're going into, to understand what type of business you want to build for yourself or for even your employees. So research goes a long way, and I don't think people do the necessary research, even just from a business plan perspective, just understanding, is this a viable business? You know, it can be in your head and you think, okay, I'll make money, but you go into the industry and you find there's 5 other businesses that do the exact same thing, you know. Passion can take you a long way, from the days when you don't actually make money, all the way to the days that when you do make money, is to how do you increase that money, where's the passion that lies in between making projects work that will pay you, you know.